Okay, someone forgot to post a video this week on making a mold, so I am going to show you the mold that I am recently made from FunctionalResinArt. You can find them on Etsy, and I will put a link below. But what it does is it makes a long mold and uses less silicone. So as you can see here, I have one that I already made, but there was a few things that I didn't like about it. There were 2 keys that came with it. I liked those keys enough to where I bought more so I could fit more keys in that, and I'm going to use those kinds of keys going forward. They fit better than the gemstones I've been using, and that's what I'm going to do. They're the 1/8 inch and just they're like 3/8 of an inch diameter. I'll put the link to those below as well. But yeah, I really like those as keys, so I'm going to use those going forward. So I have my DragonSkin, which I'm almost out of. Our stir sticks, our cup, our tape. You could use the Scotch band tape or also this Gorilla tape, but the Gorilla tape is just too wide for it. I use that for other molds. And this Scotch tape seems like it fits just right. And I'm not going to forget it this time, but the glue gun. The cool thing about this mold is that you use the same 4 pieces for the top and the bottom. You'll put the tape on the one side, and then once it's done, you'll pull everything apart, cut your keys, your registration marks, pull your keys, get everything ready, Vaseline, and then you will put the bottom piece on and flip it around and then make the top piece. And you'll see that here in a few minutes. So what I'll do is I'll put it together, and then you'll see. I'm gonna speed up all this footage to 4x just to get going. And here you see me putting the pieces together with my packing tape, because I found that the frog tape that I was using before caused cure inhibition with the silicone that seeped through, but it only happened on the lid portion of the first one. It didn't mess anything up, but I don't want to mess anything else up, so I'm using my Scotch tape to hold it together. Then I will put the piece on the bottom, and this is where you'll hot glue everything. You'll hot glue around that piece of tape. I don't know if I show that, but I do hot glue around the bottom. And I found an orientation that I like the way my key, or the way I like the way my dice go in the mold based off the first one I did. So I'm going to continue on putting them in the mold, or making the molds of them that way. And once your dice are in place, you'll want to put your keys in certain places. FunctionalResinArt says to use 1, but I found that with the 2 that I had, I wanted more, so I bought more, and then I put 4 in mine. So what we're going to be mixing is 3 and 3 of the DragonSkin 20, 3 ounces of A, 3 ounces of B, and that is all that you will need for the bottom, which uses way less silicone than I have used in the past. And if I would have had one of these before, I would have still had more silicone to use. I wish I would have found this sooner. And then we will mix up our silicone. I am adding some fluorescent orange, I think it's called goldenrod mica powder from Glitter Chimp, I believe. I think I used Glitter Chimp in my silicone to give it that nice bright orange color. And we're gonna mix it up until it's nice and mixed, and then my OCD kind of kicks in. I make sure more than once that everything is set in place, and then I continue to pour my mold really slow. I didn't like, and I'm still trying to figure out the best way to pour this, but I went along the sides and started the pour, and then once it got to a certain spot, I would start moving back, and then I kind of went to the center, and then as it all filled up, I just moved along as it filled. I moved along to the next one so it would cover that one, and then it was even for me. I don't know. I know that it would have been even regardless, but I just moved along instead of staying in one spot. So I carefully place it in my pressure pot, make sure it's even, and I will put it in there for 4 hours because the DragonSkin 20 is a 4-hour silicone. And then I just manhandle it as I pull it out of the pressure pot. So here I will take it apart, and this is where this process is cool, because you take the mold box apart, and then you will put the mold box back together after you get the next part done. and then it becomes the top part of the mold. So there's a bottom that you set your mold on after you cut your keys and pull your keys and cut your registration marks. And then you'll put your Vaseline on, tape it back up, and then mix 4 ounces of silicone for the tops. And here we are mixing the 4 ounces, 2 ounces of A, 2 ounces of B, and this time I am using goldenrod. My mistake, they're both from Glitter Chimp. This one's goldenrod, the orange one is called Safety Dance. They're not shimmery mica powders, they're more of a fluorescent, so if you put a UV light or a black light on them, they will glow. I haven't seen any kinds of issues with those. And once it's all mixed, you'll want to pour the lid on your Vaseline coated, I got it right this time, it only took me 15 times, on the Vaseline coated bottom mold. And you'll pour it high and slow, make sure you get it in all of the keys and registration marks. I actually saw a little piece of something in there that I pulled out. It didn't mess around with anything, but you'll just pour the rest of the 4 ounces on top. You'll get it back into the pressure pot for 4 hours, and then it's time to demold. That's fancy. We'll carefully pry apart the 2 parts, the top from the bottom, being careful not to rip anything. Sometimes you will need to cut some of the extra flashing because sometimes the silicone does get between the bottom part of the mold and the mold casing. In which case, you see here, I will take and you just spread it a little bit and then use your blade to get that little bit cut. And then after that, you just get that mold out and just look at that. It is just beautiful. We'll work on getting all of our dice out. And then what I like to do is take a cuticle cutter. And this is a little game I play. I will try to get a continuous piece. It's never really successful. But this time I wanted to show you that I was able to get a successful 1 piece on my own little stupid game. But I'll take a cuticle cutter and I will cut all the edges off of the mold just so that it looks a little bit cleaner, a nice little edge. The kit also came with these 2 little sandwich pieces of acrylic that what you'll do is you'll wrap your mold in parchment paper and then put these 2 pieces on top with these hair ties. And it's supposed to keep it from raised faces, which I did pull successful dice from this mold. And just as it says, minimal flashing and no raised faces like I've seen on some of my other molds. This has been another mold making video. I wanted to try the FunctionalResinArt mold making kit, and I have to say it was a success. I am going to be using this mold making kit going forward for my 7-piece sets. And as I said before, I'm going to be using those little acrylic rounds for my other molds. Thanks for watching. If you like this, hit like. If you didn't like it, hit dislike. But tell me in the comments what you think. And if you have any suggestions on what you want to see, let me know. Again, down below. Any other links that I have will also be down in the description. And yeah, I have some projects going on that I'm really excited about, and I'll get to those as soon as I get somewhere with them. It's not necessarily a secret, as I'll post them on my Discord, but I'm trying to keep this a good idea until I release them. All right, again, thanks. This is Hers with HC Customs, and we'll see you next time.